What's happening, guys? How about let's do a video today and about changing your strings on your acoustic guitar. How about that? First thing we need, acoustic guitar. These happen to be the original strings that came on the guitar. Well, my son just got this for me a few weeks back, brand new, so it was a new guitar, and it's got the factory strings on it. Couple tools I like to have. One little bitty like cutters, kind of like a needle nose, but cutters. They're good for cutting your strings also and lifting out your pegs, which we'll have to do. But anyway, another thing we need, a little string winder will make things a lot easier, life a lot easier. Let's start. What I like to start, I kind of do one at a time. That's just kind of my thing. But if you like to polish up your fretboard and stuff like that, you can do, you can cut them all 6 at the same time. But myself, I'll start at the top, tune it down, tune the string loose, then just cut it. Lift your peg out. Always put that peg back in the hole so you won't lose it. Take it from me, I've lost many of guitar peg, bridge pegs, and then just unwind the rest of the string from your tuning key. They strung this one at the Martin factory, so it's going to be a little more it's going to put up a bit more of a fight. Let me grab that tool again. Get that out of the way. Straighten that out a little bit. Let's pull that out, set it aside. Just kind of set them all aside, guys, because you don't want to lose them and they end up on the floor and then you step on them, or one of your kids steps on a guitar string and then they cut themselves or something. But that's kind of the way I do it, and everybody's different. But second thing I make sure is your little hole on your key is kind of lined up going this way with the fretboard. And of course you need some strings, some good old Martin light gauge. These are 12 through 54. My son was kind enough to, when he bought me the guitar, he bought me 2 extra sets of strings, some Martin guitar polish, a like microfiber polishing rag. So he kind of got me the works. He hooked me up. Anyway, of course, these are 54 through 12, so we know that 54 is the string that goes on top, of course, your low E string. Second part is getting into the pack of strings. Now we'll get there. So we're going to look for the low E or the 54 gauge. the high E. Here is the low E. 54 gauge. Okay, so of course I will grab, excuse me one second guys. Grab that string out. Lift this peg back out. Okay, then the ball of your string, there's a little ball, of course, and it will kind of fit. You just kind of stick it right in the hole. I always kind of put it like if it was a wheel, it would roll down the fretboard. Always kind of aim it in that direction. I don't know if it really matters much, but that's kind of just always been the habit that I have done. Kind of, and then it's got a little notch in your little pegs that the string will go into. And then of course we feed, since we have our hole in the key is like aiming back towards us, it can slide right in there. I am half blind, so just bear with me. We'll pull it through. Okay. And you don't want to pull it tight. You don't want to pull it tight like that, okay? Because if you do, you're not going to have any tension to be able to turn the string. So, I kind of pull it out just enough to make like a little half rainbow, kind of thing. And then I will try to hold it in two spots. I'll try to hold it right here at the nut, and then I also try to keep downward pressure closest to the tuning key that I am putting the string in, because you want, when you're winding the string, you want the string to kind of stack up on top of each other, like one round, and then you don't want them really overlapping. That kind of can lead to a mess. So I'm holding it with my thumb on the nut, and then I'm keeping downward pressure kind of close to the peg, and then I'll take my trusty string winder, put it on and then just wind that baby. These things make it a world easier, a lot faster. Then you just wind it, and as you're going, you can kind of make sure that the way it's winding on the key, it's kind of stacking up on top of it. One wind, and then the next round is under that wind. And it kind of stacks up on each other, and you'll feel it get tense. Some guitars, when you get to this point, you'll have to come back, press down your peg, because it'll want to pop out on some guitars. Just depends on your guitar. And the benefit to doing one string at a time, if you ask me, is you can kind of tune it. See, that new top string is in tune already. And you're going to have a bunch of excess, a lot of people will wind them up in circles or whatever. I just like to trim them off. But if you want to see, you know, a closer shot of, you know, the way the string should kind of see how this it's like it's got two, you know, you want at least kind of two rounds, you know, to make sure it's good and stable and on the tuning key. And I myself just, you know, go like, I don't know, a half an inch or so. You don't want to go too short or too close to the tuning key. I go like maybe a half an inch or something, and just take that same tool and cut it off. And be careful with these two, guys. Don't lose track of them. Leave them laying around on the floor. Somebody will step on them and it'll hurt. And your strings will stretch. Your new strings will stretch a lot. It's already out of tune. So I can go back. My favorite, the thing I like to do is after I put a string on, I'll grab it here by around the hole, and then I'll kind of come to about the center of it, this center between the key and the peg, and then I'll give it kind of a tug like this. You're just stretching out the string that way, and it seems like it will hold tune faster that way. Because new strings definitely do stretch. A lot of players don't like new strings. I'm not a guy who's picky, but when it's time, you know. When your strings die, you'll know. And I'm going to move down to the 5th string, the A string, do the same kind of deal. When I turn it, loosen it, I kind of turn it to where the hole is facing me, facing down the neck that way. Just the same deal, over and over. And then I'll use this little tool to take this peg out, remove that string, put that peg back, guys, so you don't lose it. Put it back. Lay your extra string somewhere to where you won't lose it, or nobody will step on it later. You won't lose track of it. That's so easy to do. And then just the excess you can just unwind. And like I said, this is from the factory, so it's going to be a little more challenging, but we'll get there. We'll definitely get there. Okay. Now you want to find your 5th string, your A string. And then, you know, most guitar, they'll all be really in order. You know, your 6th, and you go to your 5th, your A string. That's kind of crucial. You want to make sure you get the right strings in the right places. You don't want to end up with a 54 gauge string on your 3rd string, your G string. That wouldn't be good. Peg comes out. See the little slot in the peg? Your string kind of lives in there. Anyway, that ball on the end of the string, it's just a habit of mine. It's kind of like I set it up to where it will roll in the direction it would roll. If it was a ball, it would roll right down the fretboard. And that's the first thing I do, is just put that in there, kind of secure it. Then your hole should be facing you. And if I wasn't so blind, it would be, but Now it's facing me. And then you just put the end in, just like the last one. Got her through. And again, you don't want to pull too tight and make too much tension. You want to make sure it's sitting in your saddle in the right position. So it'll be in that second little slot or the fifth slot. And then, you know, I kind of make my little half rainbow. And again, I'll kind of hold it at the saddle. And then kind of as close to the tuning key as I can. And guys, when you're doing the top 3 strings of an acoustic guitar, you want to turn it, you know, when you turn it away from you, that's tightening it. That's the way you want it to be. And then when we get to the bottom 3 strings, those are opposite. So you kind of feel like you're going backwards when you get there. But just by doing this, I can kind of keep an eye on making sure the string kind of sets in the way I want it to set, you know, not all janked up and it's like one round stacked up on top of another round. Sometimes you'll get 3 rounds, just depends on how much slack you leave. And again, remember, some guitars, that back peg will want to pop up on you, but so far this one has not. You can hear it and feel it kind of tighten. And this one I got 3 rounds, so I left a little bit more slack, which is all right. It's fine. You don't want to leave too much slack and you end up with too many rounds, you know, but I'll kind of try to tune it. And once I get it there, I'll come back, come to the middle of it, give it a few tugs, stretch that baby out. It won't break. It'll do you a world of good when you go to play it. I'm sorry about that noise. I really do apologize. And then, of course, I take the excess. I'll go about a ½ inch or so. And cut it off. Make sure you guys, again, I want to harp on that, but try to keep track of those. And you see how it's the fifth. This one, it's got a couple of rounds. This one happens to have 3. They're stacked up on top of each other. That's kind of the way you want it. You don't want them tangled, you know, overlapping. That'll end up giving you trouble. So we're going the 4th string. A lot of times to loosen it, I'll just put that string winder on it and go backwards and loosen it up quicker. Loosens it up pretty quick. Excuse me. Take your trusty cutters. Cut that baby. Be careful with your pegs. Pop it out. Put that peg back. I do want to harp on that because it sucks when you have to go to the music store and buy pegs because you lost yours stringing it. Been there, done that too many times to count. Okay, Guys, these are sharp and they'll poke you, and believe me, they draw blood. So just keep track, make sure you keep track of them. You grab the fourth, we're on the fourth string. This is the final string that's on the top 3 keys here. So same deal. We'll just make sure 4D string. Okay. And these are light gauge nickel wound, so well, the third string will probably also be wound. The B and the bottom 2 strings will probably be a little different looking. I'll take my ball and pretend like it was a ball and put it in the direction as if it would roll down the fretboard. And then I'll just pop that baby right down in there. Okay. I think my hole is lined up. Feed the end of that string right in the hole. Same deal, guys. Kind of just maybe push down on your peg, give it an extra little shove to make sure it stays down good. Last time on the last one I noticed I almost got too much wrap, so I won't go quite as much this time. I'll give it about that much slack here. About like that. That ought to be fine. Same deal. I'll make sure that third string or the fourth string is in your right there in your fourth slot of your nut. I'm sorry. I'll kind of hold it there, and I'll stretch my other finger, and get it kind of as close to the tuning key as I can before I start turning away from me, which tightens it. And you know, keeping that downward pressure on that string is what's going to assure that they wind properly and kind of stack on top of it, you know, each other, instead of overlapping and becoming a big mess, which will, you know, eventually cause tuning issues and breakage issues and whatnot. Kind of tune it by ear as you go. 5th fret until you go to tune the 2nd string, and then you want to go back a fret, which would be the 4th fret. And then when you're tuning the bottom string, you go back to the 5th fret. And they should match. So that's pretty much in tune. I'll go back to the middle of the string and kind of give it a tug and a wiggle. I do believe these strings are going to sound pretty good on this guitar. Now I just cut the excess. About a 1/2 inch, 3/4 of an inch, whatever you think. You don't want to get it too short, then you break it. But okay, when you get to the bottom 3 strings, now we're going the opposite way. So just hit the string. Notice that's going down in pitch, so it's, of course, loosening your string. And I'll turn it until I see my hole kind of line up. which is about right there. You know, it's kind of plenty loose. Cut that baby about halfway. Go to your third peg. Pull that baby out. Put that peg back in there. I know I'll keep saying it, but it's important. I promise. And then, of course, just unwind the rest of it. Try not to put your eye out when you're doing this too. You don't want to do that. Nobody wants to lose their visual. Okay, putting it in a stack to make sure that I don't lose any of these. Okay, we'll make sure on your label, you know, third G string. Okay. Our hole is lined up. We'll pull this baby out. Find your ball. Remember, if it was a ball, just kind of picture it being able to roll down your fretboard. It's just kind of the way I've always done it, and it's always worked well. Put it back in your peg. If you want to give it a tug, give it a tug. It's snug. You know, make sure you push down pretty good. Make sure that baby is in there. This is where you want to kind of pay attention, because you're going to be turning winding the strings the opposite way as you did the first three. Excuse my blindness, guys. I should have had my glasses on. Oh, and I got a piece of string left over here. Got it. Okay, we're in there. We're in there. And then we want to make sure we seed that third string in your third slot of your saddle. Okay. Make sure this is good and snug back here. Kind of make your half rainbow or so. You know. Your trusty string winder. And when I get to these, I use my left hand to kind of hold the string down close to the tuning key. I use my thumb to keep the string seated in the saddle. Then this time to tighten it. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get a cramp in my leg. I can't be having that. Anyway, this time, you know, we was turning away from us. To tune on your bottom three, we're going to be turning it back towards us this way. That's tightening the string. All the while I'm watching and kind of making sure, keeping downward pressure on the string close to that tuning key to make sure that, you know, while I'm winding, it's, you know, stacking properly. And you'll feel it with your finger, you know, when the tension gets a little tighter. You know, maybe give your peg a little boost downward. get it pretty much in tune, and I'll go back, I'll grab it here, come to the middle of it, give it a good tug and a wiggle. Don't be shy with it. Kind of be able to hear it with your ear that you got it in tune. Then I'll go and go from about a half an inch or 3/4 of an inch or so from the tuning key, cut off the excess. And then we're down to our final 2 strings. So if you want, we can just go ahead and take these babies off. Maybe at the same time, go ahead and loosen them both if you want. And take both of them if you want. Cut them both. One peg at a time. You pull that peg out, please put that peg right back in. Peg out, string out, peg back in. Super important, guys. Just a little hack. You don't want to lose those. And then I come back and carefully kind of unwind the excess. Like I said, don't put your eyeball out. Don't stab yourself in the eyeball. That would not be cool. Would not feel good. And I can't see a whole lot here, so I'm gonna cheat. And go the opposite way. I'll just worry about that second string for right now. No, I'm gonna go ahead and get this first one out of the way too. Why not? I don't care if you gotta wear safety glasses, guys. Whatever makes you feel the safest. Don't put your eyeball out. Okay, we're going second string. Make sure you got second B string. That's what you want. Yeah, and these are nickel, so they look a little different than your other ones, but I'll find my ball and I'll pull my peg. We're on the second string here. And then my ball right down in the peg. Kind of give it a good push. If you want, pull up on the string. It'll kind of seed right where it's supposed to go in that peg. Kind of go down to the end of your string. Find your hole. It should be aiming towards you, but I overshot a little bit because they had some extra winds on it from the factory, which was fine, but I just can't. I see a little worse every day. And make sure you got your string through and it's in the hole. It's kind of not tangled up with any of the other ones. And it's pretty much the same thing. I will, since we're down on the bottom 3, I'll kind of use my middle finger to keep it close. These second 2 strings, the nickel wound ones, are the most crucial. They're the hardest ones to get to stack properly. So you really got to be conscious and careful and watch those. Make your half, a little circle here. You can make it a little bigger if you want because these strings are so thin. You can make many stacks. Some people go a little tighter, so there's not, a whole lot of excess, but then you get to winding. And you kind of go back towards you guys. on the bottom 3 strings. You'll feel that baby tighten up. Kind of sort of like that there. Let me get my little flashlight here just to see and make sure I got a good stack. Yeah, I got like 3 rows. It's kind of ideal. And when you do 1 string at a time, like I said, you can kind of tune it on the go by ear. Okay, and then it's kind of tuned, then I'll grab it, shake, rattle, and roll, stretch that baby out. If you don't do this, guys, your guitar will stretch. The brand new strings will stretch a lot, and go out of tune when you're playing. So, you know, especially if you're doing gigs or whatever, it's real important to take that new string, give it that tug and wiggle to make sure you get it good and stretched out. So we got 5 on. Sound pretty good. That's what I'm talking about. Sounding real good. And that's what the stretching your strings out as you're going will do for you. You know, if you do that, you can pretty much take right off, and you don't have to worry about your strings going out of tune on you. Okay, we're ready for number 1. So of course we want to get the 1 E string. First string, of course, is your high E, what would be your bottom string. So I'll find my ball again, pretend like it would be rolling down the fretboard. I'll grab my trusty little tool, take this baby out because I put them all back in so I didn't lose any. And then and you want your groove, guys, the groove in it to kind of face the fretboard as well. And that way the string will seed in that baby properly. So I'm going to check my ball. You kind of see where the string goes right in it. Give it a good firm push down. If you want, you can pull up a little bit. You'll feel it. And hopefully your hole is right where it's supposed to be. And this one was. And it's your last one. The lighting is a little weird, but I think I can deal with it and find the hole. I had it twice. And pull it back out. There we go, we're through the hole. Our last and final string, guys. Thanks for watching the video. I hope you subscribe, like the video, and I hope that you were able to gain some insight. Somebody out there, if one person was able to gain some insight, or, you know, was able to pick up on any of my little habits or whatever, if it makes it quicker and easier for you guys, it's for one person out there, then it's worth it. So I got my little rainbow pressed firm on my peg. I've got my first finger here holding it in the slot, the first slot of the nut, and then I'm using my middle finger to kind of press down on the string on the neck, against the neck, to kind of keep downward pressure on it. And then I start winding back towards me. That kind of ensures that you're getting that proper wind, you know, kind of stacked on top of each other, not kind of all tangled up and overlapping, and those are things that can just, you know, give you issues later. Strings can slip, slide out of tune, break easier. Now I can't see very well because I'm going blind, but I put my flashlight on and see. I don't know if you can see, but I got a really good, like, 5, maybe 4 or 5 layers there. So it's like, that's kind of what you want. You want them, you see how the strings are around the tuning keys. You can see how they're, you know, on top of each other. A lot of people don't pay a lot of attention to that, but in my opinion, it's kind of crucial. So that's kind of one thing I, you know, try my best to get every time I string a guitar or a bass. And then I'll go back and cut and really watch the little ones, guys. These are the ones, the nickel wound ones, the second and third, or if you're doing electric guitars, the little nickel wound, the little silver ones that are tiny, really super thin, like string thin almost. Be super careful to place them somewhere that you won't lose track of it. You don't want to step on it later, I promise. You don't want to have your toddler step on it later. It's going to draw blood. It will poke you to the bone. So we're almost in tune. And then that's our last string. So we got them all on. But we'll take that first string, give it a good shake, rattle, go back. Kind of tune it by ear. I happen to have a pick laying in here. Let's see how this baby sounds. Out of tune. We're pretty much there though. See, when you kind of stretch the strings on the go, you don't really have to worry about them stretching a whole lot and going out of tune when you're playing. Sounds pretty good though. Guys, thanks so much for watching the video. I hope somebody was able to take a couple of hints or new little tricks from just my way of stringing the guitar. If not, and you haven't strung a lot of instruments, hopefully this showed you a good way to do it. Please like the video, subscribe please. Yeah. Perfect tune. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe so we can do this again. We won't string the guitar again. Not an acoustic one, but thanks guys for watching. I'll catch you on the next one.